All right, we're back with episode 3, where I'm going to give my feedback as a pickleball coach as to what I'm seeing in these points. We're going to watch a game of pickleball. I'm going to try to guess at what level-ish they're playing. And we have Gil and Russ on the near side versus Joe and Jess on the far side. I've seen Gil in the first 2 episodes, and I saw Joe in the first episode, so I've seen them play a little bit. But I do not know Jess on the far side or Russ on the near side. So let's see how they play. Starting off with the net cord, love it. I love this venue. You see Joe going for his wide drop again earlier. This is excellent transition play from Russ.
1-1-1.
Attacking the weak return. I like that shot selection. One thing to note in this episode and the first episode, this camera angle is a lot closer to the action. And in episode 2, the camera is a lot farther from the action comparatively. When the closer the camera is, the more real the game is going to feel. The farther you get from the action, the less powerful and the less intense the game will feel. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're watching video coverage. Good placement from Gil. Excellent backhand slam.
Oh my God.
Definitely don't want to miss those. I know that feeling. We have Joe. He did this in episode 1, but he goes for these corner drop shots. If he's on this side, he's going here. Again, this is something I see a lot at 4-5 plus. He misses some. He's missed a couple in the episodes, but like this point, good. You don't need to hit it like on the line. He's not trying to hit a winner here. He's just trying to give himself a lot of court to work with, and it makes it awkward when he goes to this spot diagonally. It makes it awkward for this player here to be able to reach in effectively, because you have to kind of go lateral to be able to get to this ball. If he just went middle every time, which a lot of players tend to do, this is easier for both of these players to reach. So that's one thing to keep in mind. That's why that shot itself, that cross-court drop to here, it's kind of hard to hit, but it's something that I look at when players are hitting it. It lets me know they're probably it gives them higher level bonus points. So we'll say that. Let's keep watching. Solid point play overall so far. And then a missed return after I say that. It's like the caster curse, right? Even though this is not live. Both Russ and Gil have showed a lot of composure and consistency in transition. Noting that. Joe taking up a lot of space at the kitchen. Very good. Making his opponent's court small.
Three, four, two.
All right, so something I'm noticing, so Russ here is playing he has a very consistent play style, which means like I haven't seen him go for a whole lot yet. He plays very methodical and trying to get up consistently to the kitchen. So I'm seeing some mistakes. The mistakes I'm seeing here is like he's trying to play very consistent and he's not applying much pressure. And what will happen is you start just feeling all of the pressure from your opponents. You're hoping they mess up. But anyway, he's made some mistakes playing consistent, and that feels really bad when you're trying to be consistent and then you're making mistakes. So something I'm watching for here. This is something I see a lot of like players at the 4-0 level plateau on. Is you'll get players coming to 4-0 that play really hyper aggressive, and then you have players in 4-0 that play hyper conservative. But trying to find spots to play slightly aggressive and finding spots to play still conservative when you need to, that's kind of the thing that really pushes players into that 4-5 area. So something I'm watching and keeping an eye on here. 2 missed returns. Can't do that at a high level.
Good points. Good run.
Again, both Gil and Russ have a very defensive play style. So what's happening in a lot of these points, they're doing a great job of working in, but there's almost never much payoff because they're just constantly trying to defend and relieve the point. So I would like to see some more pressure out of them as we go. But pretty solid in transition overall. They would pair well with an aggressive player, both of them. Good pressure by Jess.
6-4 on the 2.
Another great drop by Joe. We talked about that before.
7-4 on the 2.
I like the idea. Jess definitely a more flashier player than the near side players. That's what I'm talking about. This is just what I'm talking about. He's playing very safe. He gets on in, and then boom. That's what I'm talking about. That's the reward you want. Jess didn't hit a bad dink, but it set up just enough for Russ here. Let's actually rewind that. Jess works his way in. Like I said, he's really good at doing. Very methodical. Doesn't give his opponent much to work with. Jess does not hit that's not a bad dink at all. But Russ just takes the little bit of height the ball has on it and goes and catches Joe sleeping. Goes right up here to his shoulder. And Joe has his paddle low, which, again, at a high level, that's you kind of caught sleeping. You have to be ready for this person to attack you at a high level, 4-5 plus at least. Yes, that's what I love to see. Rewarding yourself for all the work you did getting up to the kitchen. Another great drop. There we go. We're getting some pressure at least. You've seen Gil a couple of times work his way in very good from here to about here, and then the last shot where you're moving in forward, needing to hit a dink to get into the dink rally, he misses. He's done it a couple times. What this tells me as a coach is, now I'm making a lot of guesses. Maybe this is or isn't happening, but my guess is Gil does a lot of practice and a lot of warming up from this area. What would be helpful is if he did what's called a slinky drill, and you did some, basically you had had your partner at the kitchen, and then you start back here, and then they feed you. You hit a drop or drive, and then you come in, and then you come in, you come in after each shot, and then you go back, you go back, you go back. But you're basically working on drop shots and as you move in and as you move back. A lot of players spend a lot of time just practicing their third shot drop from here, and then they miss out on being able to finish getting to the kitchen, which is what Gil's missed out a couple times. And he doesn't look as comfortable doing it as he does from back. Yeah, Jess and Joe put a lot more pressure on than Russ and Gil. I would say Russ tends to be on the conservative side of play, and Jess seems to be a little bit, maybe slightly too much aggression, which how you measure that is your aggression paying off? Like when you are aggressive, you should be getting rewarded for that. And sometimes it looks like Jess is going for some aggressive shots that are actually uncomfortable for him to hit, and he's missing a lot because of that. So I would want to see him take slightly higher percentage attacks, but still be aggressive. I like the mindset. And I would like to see Russ look for a few more attacks as well. That was a great point, though. I think Gil, it was good that Gil hit an attack there. Some silly mistakes all around. It happens in all of pickleball, but happening quite a bit in this game. There it is again. I feel like Gil does a lot of practice from the baseline to halfway to the kitchen. Great drive, Gil. Excellent serve. Love free points. Good call on the heads up. Good control. Good consistency in transition. Russ is 5-0 plus in transition. Let's say that. He's got good hands. Nice spot. This whole point, this makes me kind of frustrated as a coach. I'm not... People do this all the time. I'm not trying to rag on Gil here. Here's the point. Okay. So I'm not trying to rag on Gil here, but this makes me kind of frustrated as a coach. This is what I call positional advantage. You're at the kitchen, your opponents are not. There's two types of advantages in pickleball. There's position advantage and shot advantage. Here, Gil and Russ had both. This is a perfect example. They have the positional advantage. They're at the kitchen. Their opponents are not. They have the shot advantage. They get a high ball that Gil gets to attack. And they get it again. And this is normal. When you have positional and shot advantage, it's normal for you to get a pop-up, for you to slam. And even if they get it, they're probably going to pop it up and you get to slam it again and again and again and again until they fold. But the problem here, I think Gil and Russ focused way too much on power and less about placement. When you get the ball this high and your opponents are back, if you just place it a little better with I don't know 3/4 of the power, you'll win a lot more points. And then here on this last shot, we'll pause it on this last shot. Jess and Joe do a great job of resetting, by the way. But this last shot, Gil had a lot more court to work with. But let's give props to Jess and Joe over here. Great resets. They had good positioning on the attacks, and great job defending it. This gets in your opponent's head when you get the ball back over and over and over again and again. That was a much better placed shot, right at his foot. We'll watch it faster here, but I love this spot. Again, I don't think Gil crushed this ball. He hit it pretty hard, but he found his foot, and that was the important part there. Let's watch a bit. Again, Gil going for way too much power in the last one. Find the placement. You have a lot of good spots to hit. Great serve. Good third. This looks like a high-level point. Very common 4.5 plus play on that last point from all 4 players. Good. Great transition work. I think the big difference between this, a big difference between 4.5 and 5.0 play is 4.5 play does really good job of like starting to get up, but then again, finishing it and finally getting into the dink battle, they struggle with a little bit more, and you're seeing that here. Like there's some really high level plays, but then there's some like, oh, a 5.0 would have been able to finish out the dink and get into the dink rally, but so you're not seeing a lot of dink rallies because they're not quite finishing out, getting to the kitchen a lot, but they're doing a great job of here in transition. So my instinct here, I don't know, 4.2 to 4.6, depending on the point. Again, some points look like 4.8, 4.9, 5.0 even, and then some points are like, oh, 2 missed returns in a row, or not, so it's but overall the play is pretty solid, and liking what I'm seeing. But Russ has missed, I don't know, 3 returns, and that's Joe's hitting a good serve, to be fair, but you just can't be missing that many returns. No.
1-1-1. Nice. 1-1-2.
There's some good aggression. Nice hunt, Gil. Good backhand drive.
Why'd I do that?
Yeah, it wasn't there. I agree. Why? It's not the shot. He knew it. It's good that he knew it.
Holy Joe, that's a huge shot. 11-12. On the 1.
Nice.
11-12-2.
Positional advantage and shot advantage. The last thing you want to do is rip it into the net or out of bounds. Way too many, real quick, way too many mistakes at rec play where you have the ball floating up here, you have the positional advantage, you're at the kitchen, your opponents are scrambling backwards because they just popped it up, and you have the shot advantage, it's up here, it's easy, and then people just smoke it, or they try to clip a line, or they try to do too much with it. You just need to hit a nice solid ball somewhere that's uncomfortable and safe. Safe for you, but uncomfortable for your opponents. I'm pointing that out because even at this high level play, I'm seeing way too many mistakes when they have both positional and shot advantage. Good game overall. Again, I think the far side, the far team, Joe and Jess did a great job of pressuring their opponents. Even from the get-go, like on their serve, there's pressure from the serve, and you saw that with Russ missing 3 or so returns. And you think, oh, you shouldn't miss a return. Well, you shouldn't miss that many, but also like a tough serve is tough, and you're gonna miss tough serves sometimes, especially if you don't want to like hit a weak return. And maybe Russ wasn't wanting to give a weak return because Jess and Joe were going to punish it with a hard drive. So that could be another reason. If you notice that Russ was missing his returns long, he might have been scared to give a short ball that got attacked. So again, Joe, give props to Joe and Jess for creating a lot of pressure from the get-go on each point. And give props over here to Gil and Russ. They did great at working here in transition. They got up close to the kitchen every time. They struggled finishing getting into the dink battle on occasion, but their work here, excellent. Like plenty of 5-0 level points here from transition shown by Russ and Gil. But again, consistency's low for that level. And again, I'm thinking somewhere around 4 or 5 level, this type of play. You're seeing some good aggression. You're seeing players that are maybe slightly too aggressive and then slightly too conservative. But you're seeing some really good shots, like the speed up. One of the shots at the point was a speed up here from Russ into Joe when he was standing here. Great shot, high level pickleball. Tough to deal with that type of ball. So let's say maybe 4.4. I mean, it's again, we're trying to give a rating for 4 different players, so I'm just trying to give a rating for like what these points looked like, and we'll say 4.4. It seems reasonable. You can let me know what you thought about it, and we'll do more of these. I might not always be doing like what the rating is, but I might do more of what I would tell them as a coach, or what I would tell players in this level as a coach that they could do to improve. So thanks for watching. Fun video. Gil, if this is you posting all of these, thank you for giving us good content to review. And good game, everyone. Another great close game. See y'all in the next video. Bye.